Hello, I'm Wayne Visser and I'm Director of CSR International, and I'm here today in Kuala Lumpur with Puvan Selvanathan, who's the Chief Sustainability Officer for Sime Darby. Welcome, Puvan.
Hi, Wayne.
Let's kick off with the hottest issue of the day, which is all around palm oil after the Greenpeace report on Nestle and KitKat. Could we just hear your reflections on the issue of palm oil in Malaysia in relation to your company and how we're responding?
Well, certainly palm oil is the mainstay of our company's business. The Sime Darby Group handles 5 different business areas, which are plantations, property, motors, energy and utilities, and healthcare. And plantations and the business of oil palm actually probably comprise about 60 to 70% of our company's revenue and turnover. So it's key industry for us. Of course, this is something which historically has been a key industry for Malaysia and for Indonesia, moving from over 100 years ago when the British and the plantations as a business enterprise was set up. In those days, of course, it was more rubber, and these have been converted now into oil palm, and these are the engines of growth for Malaysia and for Indonesia. Together, I think Malaysia and Indonesia comprise probably around 60% of the world market, and we as a company supply about 8 to 10% of the world market for oil palm. So the issue on oil palm and the way that it is handled by environmental groups, by governments, by new institutions such as the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, of which we are a founding member. These are all very close to our heart, the way that we look at sustainability as a whole. So getting back to the point about the recent issue, particularly with Nestle and the Greenpeace report against this, of course we're very concerned that the issue was raised in such a vivid and sensational manner. But this is not uncommon, and of course we understand that this is the way that environmental NGOs get their message across, and I think we have to appreciate and respect the fact that they have a particular audience which they have to be able to convey the message to, and it has to be done in a particular way. So from that perspective, of course, it was I think a fairly meaningful campaign. How it is that the companies have reacted, I think Nestle's immediate position to release that particular supplier from their supply chain was probably something that Nestle had to do, and following with regard to similar moves that Unilever and Kraft had made towards the end of last year. And I think that also indicates that generally now that the issue of sustainable palm oil has been on the table for a while, it's less easy to ignore the fact that there is a correct way of doing things, or an appropriate way of doing things. It's less easy to ignore the fact that an institution exists which is effectively setting a global benchmark for this product. And I think that's very important. Of course, we are, as I said before, closely aligned to the RSPO. We have several estates which have already been certified, and several more which will be certified in the months to come, so that we target that by the end of 2011 or the early 2012, all of our supply of palm oil from Sime Darby will be sustainable certified palm oil.
Now let's talk a little bit about the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. Firstly, why is it taking companies like Unilever and Nestle so long to be certified? They're talking 2015. And are there any issues with the RSPO itself?
So there are two points there. One is, why is it taking so long? I think that the commitments that can be made by manufacturers downstream from the estates, which are the upstream growers, have got to be tied to when the supply is actually available. So if a company like Unilever, which commands a large share of the world market in terms of purchasing can make a commitment to something like 2015, it's because it's projected forward on when it is that the estates will actually be able to guarantee supply of sustainable palm oil. So I think that's where these timeframes kick in, and of course in the big scheme of things it's actually not far away, because we're already now at coming to 2011, 2010, 2011, so it's only 4 or 5 years. As far as the RSPO is concerned, with regard to challenges that it may face, it's been around for about 8 years now, and in that time it's made remarkable progress in bringing together an industry that has been around for over 100 years. There are very few institutions, I think, that can make a claim to this kind of success on a multi-stakeholder platform. The fact that they've been able to bring together NGOs, governments, growers and so forth, with each community of which has tremendous vested interests in the constituencies they protect, whether they are the oil palm estates or whether they are the economies of the countries where these estates are, or in fact the communities, indigenous people in the forests. There are very emotive issues that are tied to all of these, and the fact that they've managed to get people around the table and speak about it in a responsible and civilized manner, and actually come to the point where you have agreement and you have membership and you have people who are driving the agenda in a committed fashion, and this is an amazing thing. So I think we should be perhaps give credit where it is due. The RSPO is the only credible institution out there that is looking out for this industry, and we should help it along.
Okay. Now, what about Malaysia more generally and sustainability or CSR issues? Are there any areas where you feel Malaysia is taking a lead or is being progressive?
Well, certainly the CSR and the sustainability issue is very much at the forefront of many companies' thinking, and of course the government's thinking also. Malaysia as a country has been locked into the global supply chain for hundreds of years as well. I mean, ever since the Straits of Malacca, as a trading route between China and Europe and India and so forth, and with Singapore, at the bottom of the peninsula there, it's always been at the center of this kind of business and trade. When you have a movement like CSR and sustainability and this language creeping into factors of how it is that you should be doing business well, it necessarily becomes part of the agenda of the economic agenda, the growth of the country. So Malaysia, I think, has taken this on, in a very serious fashion, and there are companies that are beginning to realize how it is that the ideas of sustainability and CSR have actually got to impregnate future business opportunities, have got to inform and advise current operations. And the way that this is becoming manifest in certain government legislation in terms of mandatory disclosure of CSR activities, the language that is being used by the Securities Commission, by the Stock Exchange, in how it is that companies have got to be sustainable, these are all very positive signs. So I think Malaysia has that opportunity which it can work with.
Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.